Hello my dear students. Today we are going to discuss about control strategies in artificial intelligence. We have already seen different aspects of an AI problem like initial state, goal state, production systems, etc. So control strategies is another component which makes an AI problem and its solution complete. So far we have completely ignored the question of how to decide which rule is to be applied next while processing or while searching for a solution to a problem in artificial intelligence. This question comes very often whenever we are dealing with an AI problem. So as a definition for control strategy, we can say that control strategy in artificial intelligence is a technique or a strategy which tells us about which rule from the production system has to be applied next for the solution while searching for the solution of a problem within the given problem space, whether the problem space is small or large. Irrespective of that, it is just a technique which tells us which rule is to be picked next. And another importance of control strategy comes up where there is a conflict while picking the rule from the production system. That means when a situation comes and we have to pick any one rule from the production system which is satisfying the present conditions, we may feel that many different rules, suppose 5 rules are coming up which is in favor of the current situation, and we have to pick any one from that. And in that situation, control strategies is a technique which helps us to solve that conflict and pick any one rule from the production system which is having the low cost of the path. That means lower path cost, and it will lead us to the optimal solution or the optimal result. So the low cost and optimal result, that is the condition. So take the case of chess and water jet problems. There were many situations when we were in a situation or in a confusing situation of many rules coming up together. That means a rule conflict was there. So in that time we picked any one rule which will lead us to the solution faster. So when we are thinking about a control strategy, the most important requirement of a good control strategy is that it should cause motion, and the another one is it should be systematic. So let us focus on the first point. A good control strategy should cause motion. What does that mean by causing motion? When we can go back to the case of the water jet problem that we have already discussed in the last session. Suppose we are implemented the simple control strategy of searching each time at the top of the list. That means suppose we have 10 different rules for solving the water jet problem. So we have implemented the control strategy in a simple way. That means it's a linear search. That means each and every time after completing the first stage, I am trying the rule 1 again, then trying the rule 2, then rule 3, and this is going on like that. Will we get an optimal solution in a lower time? Never. So if we did that in that method, that means in a linear search order, what will happen? We would never solve the problem. We will be definitely in a deadlock. So we would continue indefinitely filling the 4-gallon jug with water again and again. So control strategies are that which do not cause motion will never lead to a solution. So a control strategy should be in such a way that it should always cause motion. Okay. Now the second requirement. The second requirement for a good control strategy is that it should be systematic. What does that mean? What does that mean by the term systematic? Take the case of this same water jet problem. Suppose on each cycle we are choosing at random from the list of applicable rules. We have already 10 rules. We are just picking up any rules with a wild guess. We are not taking the result into our consideration. We are not thinking about the goal set. We are just picking one rule and applying it. Whether it will be useful for solving this problem? No, that will not lead us to the optimal solution. What should we do? the selection or the picking of the rules from the production system should be systematic. That means it should be in an order which will lead to the solution in a least time. That is the optimal solution. So a systematic method or the systematic picking of the rules will lead to that state. So after all, when we are discussing about the control strategy, here we are talking the case of searching. There are many different methods for implementing the control strategy for solving a problem in AI, but we are focusing on searching. You have already seen different types of searches. Like in algorithms, data structures, you have already seen different types of searches. The simplest methods of searching was linear searching and binary searching. You already know it. But in the case of AI, we are discussing searching in a vast diagram like this. Don't be in a confusion while seeing this diagram. It's very simple. I'll explain it. If you are taking the case of a search algorithm or a search concept, we have different aspects with us, and this is just a diagram which is showing the classification of different search algorithms. And while you are writing exam, you have to focus on this diagram and you have to pick the important ones from this. So here, when we are dealing with a search algorithm, we have two types of searches. One is uninformed search and another one is informed search. Uninformed search is also called blind search. Okay, not these points. Okay, search algorithms can be of two types. The first one is uninformed search. Uninformed search is also called what? Blind search. The second one is informed search. Informed search is also called heuristic search. Okay, so what is the difference between these two types of searches? So you just forget about the linear search, binary search, so and so. We are now moving on to the different types of searches in AI. So we'll start fresh. Okay, so uninformed searches means we have a huge amount of data or any amount of data. We have some amount of data with us and we are already given an order to search from this data. Okay, we only have that. We do not have any more information. We do not have the path cost. We do not have the similarity functions. We do not have anything with us. We only have one thing, that is the order of searching. Okay, so that is uninformed search. And while we are taking the case of informed search, as the name implies, it is some data will be informed. We have the data with us and we'll be having some more information related with this data. Some cost information, some path information, like that. So according to that, there is some functions that we are using to find the optimal result or the optimal path. And these functions are called heuristic functions. And that's why the informed search is also named as heuristic search. And among this, you are going to study depth first search. You have already seen it in previous semesters. Breadth first search and iterative deepening search from the uninformed category. And from the informed category, we will see best first search, A-star search. Okay, likewise hill climbing will be seen, and this will be seen in the second part. Okay, so this is you can skip the unimportant ones like cost first, depth limited, problem reduction, constraint satisfaction, like that, and you can pick the important ones and you can restructure the diagram. Okay, so as I've already told, uninformed search is a class of general purpose search algorithms which is what we say, no data. We do not have any background information about the data. That is it. Okay, so uninformed search algorithms do not have additional information about the state or the search space or other than we only have the idea that how to traverse the tree of data, whether it is in a depth order, whether it is in a breadth order. That means whether we have to traverse horizontally, whether we have to traverse vertically. That will be the only information that we are getting, and that is why this type of searching is also called blind searching. And these are the several categories that we have already seen in the diagram. And this is the most important diagram that you have to use while checking about the uninformed searching. The most important two categories of searching here are breadth first search and depth first search. Check here. Okay, So if you are what we say traversing in a breadth first order, what we are doing is we are searching horizontally first. So we'll search for the first node, we'll come to the left side, then we'll move to the right, and we'll traverse all the child nodes of this node. Then after traversing all the child nodes of this node, root node, we'll come back to the this position, and we'll again, so the first level, second level, third level, and this will be the order. And coming to the depth first search, according to BFS, that means breadth first search, according to BFS, what is it? We have to come like this horizontally, but according to DFS, it is vertical traversing. That means from the root node, we are coming to the first child, we are coming to its child, and this traversal will stop where? In the first leaf. Then we will move back to the next depth. So this is according to the depth. That means the columns first. The first column, the second column, okay, the third column, the fourth column. Here it is row wise. The first row, the second row, the third row. Okay, that's it. It is very simple. Okay. So showing in detail about BFS, it is the most commonly used search strategy for traversing a tree or a graph. Here we are explaining the data by using a tree or a graph. That means it is very simple to search while we are implementing the data in the form of tree or a graph. So suppose the tree is our data. The tree nodes are the data that we are using. We have the data there, and we have some parameters for that. And in the case of uninformed search, we are not bothered about the parameters. We only have the data, and we only have the idea about how to traverse the data. So BFS is the most simple or the common search strategy. So this algorithm searches breadth wise or horizontally or row wise. You can tell in any type. BFS algorithm starts searching from the root. Okay, it starts searches from the root node of the tree, then expands all the successor nodes of the root in the current level. The first level is satisfied, then comes to the next level. So then traversing all the nodes in the next level, and this process continues until the leaf level. Okay, so BFS search algorithm is an example of general graph search algorithm. These are some bit of theory. Okay, and for implementing the breadth first algorithm, we are using queue data structure. The implementation of this control strategy will be explained in second module. Okay, and while we are thinking about the advantages of BFS, it is very simple method. That's the first advantage. It provides a solution. If there any solution exists, it will obviously provide a solution. That means it will not be stuck, or it will not go for any loops like that. So if there are more than one solution for the given problem, then BFS will provide the minimal solution, the first one. So as it is traversing horizontally, it will provide the first optimal solution. That means the lower cost solution. So moving on to the disadvantages, it requires a lot of memory, because as we are moving on breadth wise, it requires a lot of memory to store the values. So it will take memory. That is a disadvantages. The one disadvantage. And if we are thinking about the next, that is BFS needs a lot of time for solution. That's another drawback. And the same for DFS. While we are moving on to DFS, it is a recursive algorithm. That means we are moving depth wise. We are checking it horizontally, vertically. That means first checking the root node, then come to the next level, then come to the next level till the leaf. That's the process. Okay. And while compared to BFS, the advantages of DFS is that as it is moving vertically, it requires less memory. That's one merit of DFS, and it takes less time. And compared with BFS, the drawback of DFS is that there is a possibility that it may rotate in a loop or infinite loop, and there is a chance that we are not getting the solution. That's a drawback. Moving on to the next category, that is informed or heuristic search. That means in uninformed search, we have already seen that we are getting the traversing order. That means we are given that we have to traverse in vertical order or we have to traverse in horizontal order. But in case of informed search, we'll be given some more information like path cost, node values, like that. So informed search algorithms contain an array of knowledge such as how far we are from the goal. We'll get the information, we'll get the insight that how far we are from the goal. So if we are not that much far, that means the goal is somewhat nearer to us, and we'll check for the solution. The path course will be given in some cases, and it will also say that how to reach to the goal node. There will be a method or a function. Okay, so this knowledge help the agents or the players to explore less to the search space and find the more efficient solution. Okay, so the informed search algorithm is more useful for large search spaces. For the small data, the DFS and BFS will be pretty enough, but while we are taking the case of a large amount of data, huge data, we have to focus on heuristic or informed search methods. And coming to the categories, we are focusing on best first search algorithm or a greedy search, A-star algorithm, hill climbing algorithm, that is not given here. Okay, so this is just a broad category of data that we are discussing with the different types of control strategies. Okay, so while we are checking about the case of a problem, control strategy is the most important one, and we'll see in the coming modules how these control strategies are being implemented by using different data structures. Okay, so this is the theory part, what a control strategy is and how it is related with the solution of a problem in artificial intelligence. Thank you.